Hey friends, I'm Rhiannon from Drawn by Rhiannon, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different and talk through my favourite and least favourite prints and products. I have been running Drawn by Rhiannon for 7 and a bit years now. Just over 7 years. It was 7 years this summer. So I have gone through a lot of different products, a lot of different prints. Some have been really successful, I've really enjoyed them, and some not so much. You know, I got an idea in my head and I was like, this is gonna be fantastic, this is really gonna work. And sometimes things, they just don't really materialise how you're hoping they're going to. So I thought it would be a bit of a fun video today if I just go through some of my favourite print designs that I've done over the 7 and a bit years that I've been running the business, and also some of the ones that maybe I personally don't like or that I thought were going to work and just didn't. So it's like a little look back over the past 7 and a bit years. So I thought a good place to start would be with the puffins. Now, for those of you who don't know, Drawn by Rhiannon basically started as an evolution of my final major project at university, where I made a printed homeware collection for like the final project that I was marked on to get my degree. And when I finished that, I had cushions and notebooks and buttons, and I'm trying to remember what else, this was a long time ago now, that I had made up with some of the print designs that I'd created. So for my FMP, I think I did like 80 to 100 prints. It was such a huge catalogue of prints. It was insane. So I just had a small selection of those actually printed onto fabric that I then made into items. And then at the end of the final year show, I was kind of I had all these items, and we had this lovely show where we put on like a display and we invited people to come and have a look around. It was like industry professionals and friends and family and just anyone that was in Southampton. They could have had a look around there, and it was just this really lovely kind of like celebration of all this work that we'd done. It was a really nice event. So at the show, our display was like, it was essentially like a precursor to all the craft markets that I do now, because we had a big table where we laid out all of our stuff and made it look all pretty, and then had like props. Well, you could kind of do what you wanted, but I went a bit nuts with it because I just love this kind of thing. So I had like all props that were themed to the collections. So I had like a bird cage because I had a bird theme, and then had like some seashells because there was a beach theme, and some floral thing. I really can't remember what I made now, it's so long ago. But yes, there was definitely a bird theme, and my point is that is kind of where Drawn by Rhiannon started, because the kind of hero item that I had was this puffin cushion cover, and I had spent hours and hours drawing this puffin to get it just right. And I was like, you know what, this just works. Like at the time, you see them a bit more now, but at the time you just didn't really see puffins on anything, and I just think they're such an iconic bird. They're so, like, they're just so cool. They're so cool, they're so cute. And I was like, yes, this is what is going to be like the main focus of my table. This is what I want to like center it around, because I think this is like the best print. I want this front and center. And I was right, basically. I had so many requests. Like I said, I'd left some business cards on the table. I had so many emails and just comments from people saying, are you selling this stuff? I really want that cushion. I really want this notebook that it's on, and all this kind of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll set up an Etsy shop, I'll chuck these things on it, and just try and get some money back. You know, university is an expensive thing. And it was super popular. The puffin cushion cover just sold straight away. I got so many requests to do more puffin items, and there were a few other prints that were really popular as well. So essentially that is where the business started. I was like, okay, these people, you know, want more of the stuff that I've created, so I'm gonna give it to them so that I can make some money while I'm looking for like a proper job, you know. But yes, this brings me back to the puffin. So if you haven't noticed, you will see that the puffin is all over my branding. It is my logo, it's on all my sew-in labels, it's on my website. I've got so much puffin paraphernalia in the studio because I just love collecting it. I get it for a lot of gifts and stuff like that. So I would have to say that one of my favourite prints is the puffin print. So there's a couple of reasons for this. One, as I just told you, it's very nostalgic for me. The puffin is essentially where it all started. I absolutely loved my degree. I loved learning and being in university. So it's always got that like little memory of doing the course, doing my final major project. So that's just like a nice little reminder for me. But also it is still to this day my most popular print, which is nuts. Like all the prints that I've designed since then, that very first one that I did is still the most popular. So that's really cool, I gotta be honest with you. So yeah, I would say the puffins are gotta be up there with one of my favourite prints. One of the other bird designs that I did for my final major project is the blue tip print, and it was a bit of a sleeper print, this one, I have to say. Like when I first did it, I was really quite pleased with it. I used these like metallic watercolours for it, which you can't kind of see on the smaller items, but when it's like blown up a bit more, you can really see this like gorgeous shimmer to it. So I really loved the like initial painting of it, and it took me quite a while to get like a repeat print of it that I liked, because I think I started with it like in pairs, which kind of works, but I wasn't 100% happy with it. But then I did a different design where they're like all scattered, all in different like ups and downs directions, that's the word, and with some polka dots in the background, which took a long time to kind of arrange to get them all the right sizing that I wanted, because I wanted them different sizes, different orientations. So it was quite a tricky print to put together to get it right and to get the right green. I don't know what it is about green, but I swear it is the hardest colour to get right for prints. There are so many different, like I love green, but you can have like a really gorgeous, rich, deep green, or you can have like a bright spring green, or you can have like a really mucky, sludgy green, or like a really sort of sage, almost like greyish, faded green. Like, I don't know, it's one of those colours where it's really hard to get just right, which is why it's not on that many of my products, even though it's one of my favourite colours. But I thought that the sort of like sagey kind of, I don't know, like a mix between a spring and an autumn green. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of my thought process behind it. I thought that would be really nice with the blue tits. So I managed to get just the right green. I'm very happy with the green that I picked as the polka dots for the background. And yeah, like I say, when I first released it, you know, it had a few sales, nothing major, but just the last few years it's become really popular. I don't really know why. I don't know if there was a bird trend that I completely missed, or if it's just like a colour that people are going for more now. But yeah, it's really lovely to see that that's kind of like grown in popularity. That's really cool. And yeah, like I say, it's got that bit of nostalgia for me because it's one of my original prints, and it's just really nice to see that it's got that kind of longevity. Then kind of on the other hand, like I said, one of the print collections that I did for my final major project was flowers, and I actually really love drawing flowers. I just love flowers like in real life, and yeah, there's just like so many different techniques you can do with drawing them. Like I just spent hours drawing them in pencil or painting them, all different types of paint. Just they're really interesting things to draw because there's just like an unlimited amount of flowers and colours and like they're so fun. But I found on the whole the floral prints just really haven't done that well. So it's a bit of a like, I love drawing flowers, but they don't really do that well for me. I think because a lot of the prints I do, they're more kind of things that you wouldn't necessarily find elsewhere. They're usually quite niche things that when people see it, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. I can never get things with this on it. Whereas with floral designs, you can kind of get those anywhere. So I did have some floral designs when I started. There was this one that was all like really rich pinks and purples, which if you have a look on my website, it's not really my usual colours. I'm not really like a pink and purple kind of guy. but I just loved all these colours. They were like so rich, and it took me a long time to draw the flower, and I was really pleased with it. And it just didn't really take off. And I've done a few more floral prints since then, but I found that only ones that are kind of popular are again ones that you can't really get anywhere else. So like the bluebells do really well. You don't really see bluebells that often. I feel like they're quite like a overlooked kind of flower, but I just love them when you've gone through all of winter and then you see like the snowdrops coming up and then the bluebells coming up, and they're just, you know, when you go into a woods and you've just got like literally a whole just sea of bluebells. I think that's so beautiful. So I'm really pleased the bluebells do well. Not personally one of my favourite prints. The bluebell, that's really not my kind of colour. As you can see, I'm more into big, bold, bright colours, so yeah, I can't imagine I'll ever have anything personally with the bluebell print on, but I love that it's kind of a bit different to my other prints because it is gentle, it's a bit softer. I think it works great for the makeup pads and the wash bags for something like that's such a lovely gift, or like say if you're not personally into big, bold, bright patterns and colours, I think that's a great one for you. But my personal favourite floral print is the daffodils, because daffodils are one of my absolute favourite flowers. I love, they're so bright and colourful, and they're just like spring's here, and yeah, I just love them. But sadly they are not a hugely popular print. I am not, like, I do like the print, but it's one of those that it just didn't print out as well as I was hoping. Like when I drew it in my sketchbook, it looked really good. I was really happy with it. I used oil pastels for that, I think, and I loved all the bright colours, and you could see like all the sort of texture from the oil pastels. It's like really rich, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't quite translate onto fabric like I was hoping it would. So yeah, for all my daffodil lovers out there, definitely go and check that out, because I know for a fact it's really hard to get things with daffodils on, because like I say, it's one of my favourite flowers. I would have daffodils on everything if I could. But yeah, go and check those out if you are interested in that. But yeah, it's not on that many products these days because it just doesn't sell that well, unfortunately. Now this next one is gonna be quite controversial, I think. I personally don't really like the bee print, which is ridiculous to say because it is up there with the puffins as one of my best-selling prints, especially on the beeswax wraps, which makes sense. I love that. As soon as I started making the beeswax wraps, then I asked what people wanted on it. People were like, we want bees on it because that's really fun, and I was like, yes, I love that. But I gotta be honest, I don't love the print. I think it's one of those, again, it's not super colourful. Obviously you've got your bursts of little bits of yellow in it, but it's just, for me personally, I wouldn't ever have anything with it on. It's not bold enough for me. It's not it's just not colourful enough for me. But again, I think it's one of those, it's more of a gentle, more of a delicate print, and I do like to try and have a little bit of something for everyone. Like obviously I'm going to be quite biased in what I design, in that I want to design things that I like, because I always go on this sort of theory that if I like it, then at least I know one person likes it, so in my mind that makes me think other people must like it. Whereas when I'm designing something that I don't like and I'm just hoping other people will like it, I've always got that thing as like, but I don't like it, so will anyone like it? I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of always my thought process when I'm designing a new print. I'll design it how I want it, so that, you know, at least I like it. But yeah, when I was doing the bee print, I don't know, in my head I always think of bees as like these really like chubby, really cute little guys, but I wanted to do a more realistic print because I don't really do like cartoony style designs. I used to, like way back in the day I had more cartoony ones, but I just found it didn't really go with the whole like hand-drawn thing because they look more digital and it just didn't really align with what I was going with. So yeah, I wanted to go for a more natural kind of looking bumblebee, which works great and it's super popular. So I am absolutely on the wrong side of this thought process, but for me, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's interesting actually sometimes when I'm doing the market stall, and I love getting people's feedback on the market stall because you kind of can't hide your reaction to things, and sometimes people will see the bee prints and be like, oh my gosh, I love bees, I love this is fantastic. And then sometimes I get people that see the bee print and they're like, oh, creepy crawlies, oh, I don't like that. And yeah, I think that's sort of the payoff with having a more like realistic looking bee, is that it does have that kind of more like insect creepy crawly kind of vibe. So I get where people are coming from there. But yeah, I'm so pleased you love it, because I love bees. I think they're fantastic creatures. Like literally the world would die, would come to an end without bees. So yeah, I love that we're spreading the love for the bees. Now on to products. So over the years I have trialed lots of different products. You might notice that I've kind of settled down with that now. I've had the same like 8 products I think it is for the past like 3 years probably, I think, trying to remember. Yeah, probably like 3 years or so. Because I finally kind of worked out what sells, what's popular, what's doable, and yeah, just kind of settled on something that works together, and I'm happy with what we've got now. But it took a lot of time to get here, because a lot of the time I'm either like too ambitious in what I think I can make in big quantities. So for example, I used to make cool bags that had like a lining that was, oh, I forget what they call it, but it's like a type of fabric that keeps stuff hot or keeps it cool. It's really like weird stuff, quite difficult to sew with, but it's basically what makes it a cool bag. So if you put an ice pack in with it, it would keep it cool for the whole day. But they were just, it was quite a tricky pattern. You might notice that the things that I make now, they're all pretty much like square, rectangle, pretty simple stuff, but this was a really tricky item. And there's 2 issues with that. One is that I am not the most technical sewer. Yes, I do have a degree in fashion, but I was never focused on the like making of the items. I was more on the designing of the items. So yeah, I'm not the best sewer in the world. Maybe if I'd like kept it up a little bit more, had a lot more practice, I would be better now. But I sort of went down there. I don't really like sewing that much, so I'm gonna stick to nice, simple things. And to be honest, I've lost a lot of skills that I learned at university, which really sucks because I worked really hard for it. And I think one day I would love to get back into it, get better at dressmaking and all that kind of thing. But yeah, for now, I'm really good at making basic stuff. So that's just, we're gonna stick with our strengths basically. So like I was saying, the cool bags, they're really complicated, well not really complicated, but they're much more complicated to make than the other things that I do. So they take longer, which means that I have to charge more for my time. So there's that it's more expensive because of that, and it takes longer. So if you're then making it in bulk, you know, you could spend a whole day sewing and not have that much to show for it, which is just a little bit depressing. And also, you know, then you've not got much stock, so you have to charge more. It's a whole thing. Second point is that, like I was saying, most of the items I make are like squares and rectangles. So when I'm arranging a print file to send it off to be printed onto fabric, everything like slots into place really nicely, and we're not wasting any fabric, which is something that is really important to me. I don't want to waste fabric because we don't want wastage, obviously, for the earth. We don't want to add any more rubbish to it than we need to. And secondly, it's just money going down the drain if we're wasting fabric. But with the cool bags, they were a really weird shape. I'm trying to remember, because they're like kind of like a net, so it was like there was a bit pointing up here, then like bits that stuck out for the sides because it all like folded in to make a shape. So it was very tricky to get it all to sort of fit in like a Tetris kind of situation. So I always ended up having either gaps that were just useless, didn't use it for anything, or I would end up making sort of like really weird shaped coin purses and stuff just to fill up the space. So I'd either have like really tiny ones or really big ones because I was just trying to fill in the gaps, which just makes it awkward to try and sell them because they're all like one-off pieces. So I'd have to like individually list them all on the website, or if I was on a market stall, I'd have to individually tag them all. It just didn't work out. So I just decided in the end that I love the product because it was something quite different. Like I've never really seen a craft market stall that was selling cool bags with like that were handmade. So I loved that it was something different, but in the end it didn't work out. I would say that my favourite item is probably the beeswax wraps. Now, I wouldn't say these are my favourite items to make. I don't mind making the beeswax wraps themselves. It's a bit messy, but it's okay. It's nice to do something a little bit different. It's quite nice also actually because I do like walking and moving while I'm making these, with like going to and from the oven to melt the wax and everything, which is quite nice instead of being just sat at the desk all the time. But I hate making the packaging. It takes so long. It shouldn't take this long. I have like made it as quick as I can, but it still takes a long time when I'm making a lot of them. So for that reason, it's not my favourite thing to make, but it is probably the favourite item that I sell. This is because if you know me at all or know anything about the business, you know that I am passionately against plastic. I will do whatever I can to reduce plastic waste and to help other people reduce plastic waste as well, which is why I think the beeswax wraps are such a good idea, because it's such a simple swap for cling film. It works just as well. It's way prettier than cling film. You can wash it, reuse it over and over again. I just think it's such a great item. It was the first reusable item that I made, and I think it's a really great way to introduce people into reducing plastic. It's sort of not a scary change, it's a really simple swap. And yeah, if you have not tried them yet, I made a little video just explaining a bit more in depth what they are, how to look after them, all that kind of information. I'll pop that in a card above so you can go and check that out. And honestly, if you haven't tried them, I would highly recommend swapping from cling film to these. I haven't bought cling film since I was a student because I just use beeswax wraps now, and honestly it's like the easiest, just such an easy swap to make to reduce plastic. So yeah, that is an item that I am like, that's probably my favourite item. I'm super passionate about this. I would say probably my favourite item to make is probably the wash bags. I don't know what it is, I don't know, it's like different processes from my other items. So like with the makeup pads and the cleaning wipes, it is a lot of quite repetitive things. It's like, sew this square, turn it through, pin this, sew that, like it's just very repetitive. But with the wash bags, there's just lots of different stages to it. And then also when I've made them all, like it's a lot, like because they're quite big, it just looks like you've made a lot, so it's really satisfying. So I'd say they're probably the most satisfying thing to make. And also what I love is that they have been doing really well the last couple of years. I've sold wash bags for years, but for quite a long time they weren't the best seller. But I thought it was such a good item to have in my range that I just stuck with it. And then literally all I did was change my display of them at the markets so that you could see them better, and have them like stood up and all out instead of just in a like flat in a rack, and they sell so much better. Yeah, I just think they're really great items. They're so versatile. They're water resistant, which for some reason quite a lot of wash bags, toiletry bags, makeup bags aren't. So if you put it down on a wet surface, like it'll get damp. But the ones I make are water resistant, so you know, don't need to worry about them getting damp or anything. Just dry them off, wipe them clean. Yeah, I think the wash bags are a fantastic item, and I don't mind making them. So we come to the least favourite product, and I have to say I'm very sad this is my least favourite product because I think it is fantastic, it works really well, but I cannot tell you how annoying it is to make. It is such a pain to make. It's so time consuming, it's so awkward. My sewing machine hates it. I've got a big industrial sewing machine, as you can see in the background there, but it's no. So that is why I've discontinued these, the reusable sponges. And like I say, I'm really sad to discontinue these because they are fantastic. I use them in my own kitchen, in my own bathroom. I think they are fantastic products, but they are, I get so angry when I make them because they're so fiddly. They've got really tough fabric, obviously, because I want them to, you know, last well through washes and being used and everything. But it just makes them so incredibly hard to handle and push through and turn through and sew, and yeah, they're very time consuming to make. I should essentially be charging more than I do for them because I don't really make any money on them because of how long they take to make, so many stages to them. I do actually have a video where you can learn how to make them yourself if you want to give them a try. I think if you're only making like one pack, it'll probably be alright, but if you're trying to make like 100 on the run up to Christmas, you'll hate them. You will learn to hate them. So yeah, unfortunately that is why they're discontinued. There's still a few left on the website. I think there's like a handful, and there's some Christmas ones left if you want to go and check those out. Pop the link for those below as well. And all of the items that I've talked about in this video, I'm going to pop a link down below. So if you're interested in any of the prints that I've talked about, any of the products that I've talked about, then I'm going to put specific links to those below. And obviously just the regular shop link's going to be below as usual. This whole video has been me talking about my favourite, least favourite items and prints, and I don't know what my favourite print is. I love that I've got the popular ones. I'm sad for some of the ones that don't work out, but yeah, personally, I don't know. So I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what your favourite print is, or if there is a print that you would love to see that I don't already do, then please let me know about that as well. That would be really fun. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, it would be lovely if you could subscribe to my channel. Click here to subscribe and click here to watch another video. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!